accountability works best when it's integrated into district and state systems for monitoring. Accountability then becomes a shared responsibility. It's the teachers, it's the families, gifted education personnel, and really the system at large that is supporting our gifted students. For me, I like to think of it as being multidimensional. It's about student achievement, performance, and growth. It's about program evaluation, and then also now it's about teacher effectiveness.
One of the biggest issues with demonstrating this growth for our most talented students lies in the methods in which we assess student growth and collect data. Too often, criterion reference or grade level proficiency tests are utilized as the main indicator of student growth. And with gifted students, most come into a grade level having mastered 40 to 50% of the grade level curriculum. Well, utilizing assessments without ceilings or having the ability to administer off-level testing would provide the data needed to ensure that students were indeed making academic growth.
When talking about gifted education and student growth, I think sometimes this growth data is viewed as a conundrum because lots of people might have a lack of confidence in the reporting system, or there's a belief that you can't really report growth for any one student, or there's just a general lack of understanding about growth models. But regardless of this nature or this confusion, national and state policy initiatives clearly place importance on growth. Individual states have growth reporting systems wherein we must embed gifted student data. We must also understand the particular growth model and how data is generated and interpreted. For the reporting of gifted student growth, we need to be clear about the purpose of the reported data and the assessment tool behind the growth data.
How do we know programs and services for our gifted students are effective? We collect data about our gifted students over time. We draw upon both formative and summative assessments at all grade levels throughout the school year and use this data to monitor student growth. In addition, we look at indicators such as social-emotional growth, student and parent surveys, and teacher observations of students to determine how students are performing throughout the year.
Pre- and post-tests can be utilized as well, as long as the pre-test information is not already mastered by gifted students. Otherwise, this type of growth measure would not provide any useful information relative to student growth. And assessing professional practice could include completing professional development in the area of gifted education and differentiation. This would need to be coupled with an observation scale for administrators and/or other educators for classroom application to ensure that skills learned and developed were being implemented with the validity and fidelity for full effectiveness.
In gifted education, we might need to supplement the identification of summative assessments, especially if state assessment is the primary data point. For educator evaluation, it is suggested that summative or interim assessments be included that permit assessment at the gifted student's level of instruction, aligning with those state academic standards, and are also above grade level in expectations.
One thing that we totally believe is important is to have your program in writing. We annually present to our Board of Education our students, our programs, as well as our gifted documentation. One thing that we have a common saying here in Wakanda School District 118, if it isn't in writing, it doesn't exist.
One of the most meaningful things we have done is to look to outside partnerships to help us gain feedback from our community by working with local colleges to develop and gather information about what we are doing right and what we need to work on in gifted education. We have used surveys, focus groups to gather data about programming effectiveness and student-parent outcomes with the current gifted programming initiatives.
Student outcomes remain our primary indicators related to program success. However, program evaluation is more than just student accountability. It's about continuous improvement for the gifted program. So evaluation lets us know if we need to make adjustments in the identification process, in our programming options, or even in our service models that we're providing to students and families.
Our world is built on data and evidence, and education is no exception. We need to be able to demonstrate that students are making growth, that teachers are influencing the growth of their students, and that specific educational experiences are effective with advanced learners. In this video, we notice some of the challenges of accountability in gifted education with suggestions for how to meet them. For more ideas, check us out on the web at nagc.org.